Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video, and it's time for a full guide and walkthrough on the Vault 94 or Vault Raids. Are you ready? Vault 94 was released with patch 12 2 days ago, and we, PC players, have been experiencing this. However, if you are a console player and you can't experience Vault Raids yet, just wait a little longer, but as I said, they will release it as soon as they understand that there are no major bugs, so I expect it to be online maybe today after the maintenance. Who knows, it should be up very soon. Anyway, I came up with this complete guide for the Novice and the standard modes. Basically they are very similar, it's just standard has some time limits and Novice gives you all the time in the world to finish the chores. So with that being said, let's start. It's going to be a long video because there's a lot of things to go over. And I want to make sure that you can learn everything properly without skipping any major details. So let's get into it. Now, before we start with the actual walkthrough, I want to give you a few tricks that will make your life much easier in the vault. For example, what perks to use. Besides your usual perks for your build, like rifle players, melee players, you should take in consideration to use, for example, Exterminator, because inside the vault there are tons of bugs, Marlooks, and that will make it easier to kill them. There's also a lot of radiation, so rad resistance is a plus. Also, Ghoulish will ensure that you can generate some HP while taking rads. That's very important because you will be in combat most of the time. Then we can move to Charisma perks for team perks like bodyguards that gives you extra defense when you are in a team. You should be in a team of 3 or 4 people, so extra defense for you. Also, squad maneuvers ensure that you will run 20% faster. If you share that perk, everyone will run 20% faster. That's really nice for standard mode, for example, when you want to rush things. Then we have strange numbers, which makes your mutations even stronger when your teammates are mutated. For example, with Speed Demon, it makes you run faster. With Marsupial, it makes you jump higher. So it's really great to have this one as well. And for extra defense, if you play outside of the power armor, you want to have things like evasive in agility, as well as ironclad in endurance, and even moving target in agility again. These perks are really great to increase your overall defense stats. Serendipity in luck can also be a lifesaver because at max level it has almost 50% chance to avoid damage when you are 30% HP or lower. Then if you want to revive people, or if you have a feeling people are going to die often, you should probably use Dry Nurse in luck. It has a 50% chance to keep your steam pack after you revive a teammate. Also in Charisma, we have several perks that could be useful when it comes to reviving people, such as Healing Hands and even Spiritual Healer, which allows you to revive people and give them regen, as well as Quake Surgeon, which allows you to use alcohol to revive people, and Rad Sponge. This is a very important perk. I have been using it, at least someone in my team uses it, because when you take radiation, you can heal other rads from your teammates. So that's extremely helpful in Vault 94. There are, of course, more perks that can be helpful in Vault 94, but these are definitely my highlights for the moment. For those who use shotguns, here's a tip. Enforcer in agility can cripple all the ghouls inside the vault, which is extremely helpful when you are rushing things in standard and expert. Something else that you should look at before entering Vault 94 is if you have enough supplies to keep you going there. For example, just see it as doing a Scorched Earth event, killing the Queen without many people around. So make sure to get enough steam packs, Radaways, even Rad X if you don't mind losing your positive mutation effects, or if you don't have mutations, that's perfect. You will also need a lot of ammo to keep shooting if you use fire weapons. If you use melee, then you're fine. And food and water, because you will probably be there for a long while. Also, don't forget to bring some repair kits or enough junk to repair your armor or weapon in case they break during your vault raids. When you first start doing a Vault 94, things will seem very confusing and even overwhelming, but that's normal because this is probably or by far the most difficult and challenging experience that you will encounter in Fallout 76. So it might take you at least 5 runs to get used to everything, you know, the shores, the interior itself. It's like a small maze. There are a lot of rooms. You can easily get lost inside. But again, that's all part of learning something new. So don't worry, just try your best and you will eventually learn and get used to a Vault 94. It just takes a little bit of time and, well, effort. In order to complete Dead in the Water in Vault raids, you should establish roles in your team because you really don't want to end up with the entire team doing the killing, for example, or having 4 people focusing in one single objective while no one is doing the killing, and then you get overwhelmed and people start dying one by one. So it is important to kind of establish who's going to do what, and that creates a certain balance that is very much needed in this mission. I'm not sure how it's going to be with the next missions, but for this one it is very important. Ideally, you want to have 2 persons focusing on objectives and the other 2 doing the killing. Of course, you can still co-op. Certain tasks require people to, for example, read the objectives and the other should follow the lines. You can have more than one following the lines, but you need a little bit of coordination for that. My last tip for you here, if you want to successfully do Vault raids, is to simply communicate. Use your voice comms or go to Discord and communicate with your team, because you really need to. It's very complicated to do this without talking because you need to do things quickly, especially in Standard. In Novice, you have all the time in the world, but in Standard, you need to communicate to let other people know if you have a key. If there is a sequence, people have to work with each other. So it is very essential to communicate, and you probably won't make it if you don't. Alright, now that you are prepared, it's time to start the real guide. So where is Vault 94? It's right here between the Savage Divide and the Mire in the very north. It's to the east of the Pumpkin House and to the northwest of the Gulpers Lagoon, for example. Now, after you assemble a team, it's time to understand how everything works. If you are the team leader, you need to tune in to the Vault frequency in your radio in the Pip-Boy, and only you can start the instance through the terminal inside. This is very important. No other player can do this. Just the team leader has the privilege to tune in and to start the instance by opening the Vault's doors. Also, if you are not the team leader, you don't need to tune in to the frequency. I haven't done that in many runs and things are working just as fine. When you are inside, you can read some of the Vault lore as well as select the difficulty that you want to play the mission Dead in the Water. You only have one option, and then you have 3 options: Novice, Standard, or Expert. In here, I started Novice, so let's start with a lake room, which is the first room. You need to wait for the door to open after the mission starts. It takes a little bit, sometimes it takes longer depending on the server. It can even bug. I had that before, but it's very straightforward. Literally, you only have to go forward. There are 3 rooms that you can open, and then you will get into this lake room where 2 Mirlook queens will spawn in the lake itself, and a lot of ghouls. But all you have to do here is repair the pipes. There are pipes in both levels, including the lake itself. So make sure to check all the corners as well as in the water. I know there's a lot of rats, but you have to go there, or at least one of you has to do it. And when all the pipes have been repaired, it's time to wait for the draining, and that means defending yourself from all the ghouls and mirlooks that will spawn. They come in waves, and you don't have a choice at all because the door is blocked and all you can do here is, well, defend yourself, as I mentioned. When the drain is complete, you can open the door and you will access the residential area. In here, you will also want to look for pipes. You have to repair lots of them. Also, you will have to deal with mirrors. They will spawn non-stop in Standard, for example, but in Novice, they will eventually stop. So if you kill them all, they won't respawn again, or at least until the very end when you find all the keys. Now, you will want to find a key which can be randomly placed anywhere in this area. But there is a trick in Novice, which is you can lockpick a room. Normally it is the console room, but it can also be the workshop room. I've seen both so far. And you need a level 3 lockpick to do it. So in case you don't find the key, you can just go to one of these rooms and lockpick the door. In this case, I went for the console room, and once you lockpick it, you will find a key inside. Usually it's the nursery key, so all you have to do is pick it up from one of the tables. It's usually near the terminal or in the main table. And then you need to go to the nursery room, of course, and it's free for you to open. Now, the nursery room is just across the hall. It's very close to the console entrance. And again, the key will be inside. Usually it's near the terminal or in one of these shelves. And this time it's for the workroom. For this one, you need to go to the first level up the stairs and go past the red machine, as you can see there. And it's right here. And inside, instead of a key, you will find an ID card which will give you access to another door at the engineer's room. Usually it's in the floor or in one of these shelves or even near the window. I've seen it there as well. From the workroom to the engineer's room, you need to go to the other side of the region to the first level called maintenance. And then you have to go through the floor down and you will find this locked door. But now you have the ID card to open it. Keep in mind that you have to hack a terminal. You need level 3 hacking to get through the bypass, and then you will be able to retrieve the codes, which you will kind of need later on to restart the pumps. This part does take a while, but don't worry, it's all part of the plan. You can't do anything to rush it. Then you have to return back to the main room, and you want to go here to the engineer's room near the console and wait for the draining to complete. Now, during this phase, a lot of enemies will spawn and you might want to fight them because there is a 1-star legendary amongst them. But you don't have to. As soon as the door opens, you can just go and the door will close behind you because that's the break room. So it's totally up to you if you want to fight everything or if you just want to defend yourself while the draining is processing and then rush in and ignore everything else that is behind you. Once everyone is in and the door closes, you will get your mid rewards. If you think that things have been really easy so far, then brace yourself because at the reactor room, things will get ugly. After repairing all the pipes which you need to restart the reactors, you will be given 5 random chores or tasks. Keep an eye for reactor control cards, for example. There are other 3 items that you need to collect, so just keep an eye on the shelves, on tables, everything around, and pick up all the keys because you might need them later. You don't know which tasks you will receive after you repair the pipes, so make sure to collect everything that you come across. And I will give you all the examples now. The second one is the reactor interlock control key. It's like a green big key, very hard to miss. The third is the reactor catalyst canister. It's like glowing purple bluish. And lastly, it's a mainframe core, which looks like the cores from the silo runs. Also very hard to miss. Now you know what to look for. Don't forget the pipes. Also, the first task might take a little bit to appear. Yes, I know, the mission updates are very slow and it's really annoying in standard and expert. It consumes time. Anyway, for this novice run, the first task we got was to restart the reactor subsystems and ignore the reactor control. You want to go to the other side, to the other controls. Marsupial is really useful in here. And the terminal you want to access is here at the reactor monitoring access panels. And it's the second option. Then you can check all the procedures that you need to do in order. If you don't follow the exact order, you will fail the task. I'm going to show you all the locations, but keep in mind that the order is always random as well. For the Volt Power interlink, it's at Volt Power in the first level. You can access it from both panel rooms. It's very easy to access, but not so straightforward because the name is different. Then we need to go for the voltage regulation. As the name says, it's down. And the pressurization room is right to the right. It's very close to the voltage room. Next, we had to go to the west generator, which is at the ground level, just across the room from the pressurization one. It's a bit tricky because the plate is not in the first opening, in the first door. It's right there. Then we need to go to the east one, which is just across the room in the same wall. Lastly, for the condenser room, it's right here near the stairs. And it's also close to the voltage in the ground level. And that's it. You have all the locations, and don't forget the order is always random. Next, we have the valve task, which basically requires us to open all the valves, the yellow ones in the walls. They are very difficult to miss. To make things easier, just make a full route across the wall so you don't miss anything. That's the easiest way to do it. My third random task here was to insert 2 catalysts into the reactors. That's pretty easy. Just need to find them first. Usually that's the easiest one to find because it's big and quite flashy. If you haven't found it yet in Novice, you don't have a time limit, so just go ahead and find them. For the fourth task, we had the green keys, the interlinks. The same thing goes for this one. If you haven't found them yet, then just go around the room and make sure to find everything you need. As the fifth and last task, we got these numbers, which the NPC will call out loud at the start. You might want to write them down in a paper or, in your pad in the computer. You can access these numbers in the terminal, so don't worry if you didn't pay attention initially. But in here, you have to put all the other numbers down and leave up only the 4 numbers that she calls out or that you can find in the terminal. There are 2 more tasks that could be given to you. The first one is to repair broken mainframes. You need to find mainframes around to be able to repair them. And the second is the scanners, hand scanners. And you need the ID cards to be able to scan your hand. The last task for every difficulty is to click in this big red button in the first level. You can access it from any of the terminal parts. And then it's time to move downstairs to the utility room. The door will soon open and that's where the next room and phase starts. Don't forget to keep repairing all the broken pipes you find. It's all about the pipes. And then you will be in the utility and agricultural wing. You'll find a queen in the lake again, as well as some mirrorlurks and then ghouls when you reach the main room. Now in here, don't forget the pipes. That's very important, especially in standard. But you will want to restart the pumps. And for this one, you need to check your inventory. There will be a note under notes with all the codes. That's right, you have 4 pumps and each pump has a keypad and a code. The best way to do this is to write them down very quickly or to take a camera photo with your phone. That also helps. But don't forget that Mirrorlux will keep spawning below you, and it's quite dangerous to check the codes when you are in such position. After resetting the pumps, the Strangleheart plant will open, and that's when it's vulnerable, so hit it with everything you've got while defending yourself from the waves that keep spawning. That's very important. Don't forget that when you get too close, the rats intensify, and if you're not close enough, the plant won't open at all. So, great advice here in my opinion. When the plant is finally down, the pump room will open. You have to wait quite a while. It is slow. But this is the final room, and that's where you can claim your rewards. So be patient and enter to find this magnificent blue crate with a guaranteed 3 stars random legendary. Don't forget to access this terminal to select the chosen task. Just look up your task mission, it's also random, and select the one that they ask you. And that's all you have to do. Now, the rewards are coming your way. Just be patient, and there you go. Your Dead in the Water mission is done, and you will get a Vault 94 steel as well as many other rewards. Here is another example for you. Novice is now done, but how do you beat Standard and what's the difference? Well, the main difference here is that in Standard you have a time limit for everything. So I will be focusing on that. You start with 4 minutes, as you can see, but the objectives are pretty much the same. They are random, they don't really differ from Novice. On the other hand, the rewards are much better, and you can get armor plans starting on Standard. Anyway, the general rule here is for every pipe you repair, you will earn 8 seconds more to add to your final counter. So that is great to know and to keep in mind. Of course, the system is quite buggy, and if you end up in a laggy server, the 8 seconds will not really be noticeable, and the counter will be very, very messy. Sometimes it won't even count. Anyway, in this area you will start with 5 minutes more, and you can't lockpick the doors that you could in Novice, like the nursery or the concealed room. You will have to find the first key, which could be anywhere, and then you can follow the room sequence that they give you. It is quite random, and in this case we had concealed, the nursery, and engineer's room, so no workroom in this equation. I really thought there was a general rule for this one, but I think not all rooms are included at all times. Anyway, there are several keys laying around, and you just need to find one to be able to follow the sequence. Then the procedure is the exact same as Novice, so I'm not going to repeat myself. However, when you get access to the engineer's room or the break room, things are a little bit different because your time or your counter will stop, and that's very, very handy because all you have here is so much time. It is limited and it is very precious. Moreover, you get 5 more minutes for reaching this point, as well as mid-mission rewards, and don't forget to repair your stuff before you restart the mission. When you click the door button, it will open and your time is resumed. And again, you have to do the same things. Random tasks, repair pipes, and don't expect the enemies to stop spawning. Unlike Novice, where they will eventually stop, in Standard the ghouls won't stop coming, and ideally you want to cripple them to buy you some time with a shotgun and a forcer, or you want to have really powerful players in your side to kill everything as soon as they show up. Otherwise, you might be in trouble because they can corner you and take you down very easily, or even stun lock you. There are also some mirrorlooks coming along. Later on, when you are done with your reactor tasks, you will find waves of ghouls as well as a 2 stars legendary normally. And then, when you reach the utility tunnel, you will earn 6 more minutes to add up to your final time. Pretty handy to know. Then, at the very end, you have to kill the Strangler Heart again. Everything else is the same. Maybe more monsters spawn in here, I'm not entirely sure. And there's your mid rewards again. The main difference at the very end is of course the event rewards. You can still get your 3 stars random legendary from the blue box. But in this time you can get armor plants like the solar armor. And that's pretty awesome. You can also get the power armor plants from this mission, which I didn't get yet, but I hope I will very soon. Before I conclude this video, I want to introduce you to a few bugs that I have found and experienced myself while attempting to do Dead in the Water in Vault 94. The first one is quite obvious. It's when the first door doesn't open. We waited here forever for minutes, and as you can see, the mission brief is updated. So we had to restart the instance. The second one is when you enter photo mode and things get really weird. Alien world, is that you? Probably. The third bug is when you enter an instance with your 2 teammates and the 4th member ends up in another reality. How does that happen? I guess it's a small glitch with the instance technology that Bethesda has just released. Well, things are far from being perfect. And as the 4th bug is when the mission takes forever to start. And you start wondering, is it happening? Is it working? Should we restart? In this case, it did start, but sometimes it kind of makes you wonder and you might even restart it for no reason. Just be patient and see what happens first. Finally, I managed to put everything together. It took me almost 3 days to conclude the Vault 94 Dead in the Water Novice and Standard Complete Guide. I hope you guys have learned something here. That was the entire point with this extensive video. What you think about Vault raids so far? Do let me know in the comment section below. I'm very curious to know what you guys think. So far, I think it's positive. Even in terms of bugs, I haven't found that many. Of course, it is difficult. It is by far the most challenging experience I had in Fallout 76, but that doesn't equal bad or negative, far from it. But that's probably a matter for another video. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really hope you learned something new today with this video, and I'm going to see you very soon. I am Marta Branco. If you are new around and you enjoyed this guide, feel free to click in the subscribe button below. Also, I have a Patreon page for those who would like to support me even further. Lastly, do let me know what you think about Vault raids. I'm really curious to read your comments. That's going to be everything for now. Adeus. Bye bye.